What are you really selling? Hi, I'm Brian Pombo. Welcome back to Brian J. Pombo Live, and I am still here at Legoland, California, late at night, out here visiting with taking my family on a little vacation, I should say, and having a good time, learning a lot. As I mentioned last night, there's a whole lot of business inventions that you can gain from looking at businesses that work, because businesses that work because they feed people. They feed people something that people want, good or bad. They do their job, and they provide something valuable to people for money. And if you can take that and translate it back to your business, look at what's actually being sold. And the real question is, what are you really selling? If you're in business, what are you actually selling? I don't mean the product, I don't mean the service itself, I don't mean all the features and the way you would go about describing it. I'm talking about what you're actually selling. And here's an example. So this is from a customer standpoint, right? My wife and I are here with my 3 kids. And I said this really weird thing. So we're staying at the Legoland Hotel. It's this place here, right? It's pretty wild. I mean, this is in the middle of the night. Everyone's, middle of the night. I mean, I think it's 9 o'clock or something. But everyone's asleep. The kids have gone to bed, and everything's nice and quiet. But it's still lit up and everything else. It's still pretty magnificent to look at. But back to my story, if you think about what we're actually getting from all of this, I sat back and was talking with my wife, and I said, you know what, the thing that I've gotten the most out of this experience is this is probably the calmest I've ever been, being out in public with people and my kids. And I was trying to put my finger on it, and it occurred to me. Most of the time, so I've got 3 little kids. I've got a 7-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 2-year-old. And they're chaos. And not necessarily in a bad way. Most of the time they're good kids. But they're chaos. They're just chaotic little beings. And everywhere you take them, you're trying to keep them from either hurting themselves or causing destruction everywhere they go. And that's not a bad thing. It's just part of having kids and being in public with other people. And people who don't have kids, they wouldn't understand it. And it's tougher even if you've had kids at one time. I know my parents, they're not as patient with the kids necessarily as we are, because they're just not around them as often, and every little thing irks them a little more. And so it's one of those things where you're always kind of on edge when you're out in public with the kids. You're trying to keep them from hurting themselves, because the world is not childproof. And at the same time, you're trying to keep them from getting in the way of everybody else. You're trying to keep them from getting lost and running off and getting into this and that. Here, this whole place is relatively childproof. I mean, it's childproof because for one thing, it has to be, because the only people that come here are kids, and kids of a very specific age group, for the most part, are the ones that are really geared to Legoland. Unlike something like Disneyland, which we're going to tomorrow, so maybe I'll be able to do a message from there, but different story. You talk about Disneyland, the whole vibe of Disneyland, the way it was designed, was to play to kids and kids at heart. So to play to everyone that wants to have a little bit of childhood innocence. And so adults go to Disneyland on a regular basis now. Kids go to Disneyland, of course, always will, but it isn't just for them. There's lots of rides for adults and everything else. Legoland, on the other hand, it's very specifically geared toward children. But because of this, because of the Legoland Hotel, how it's designed, it's funny, I keep saying, I'm probably mispronouncing Legoland on occasion because we have because the Google Maps says that you're on Legoland Drive or Legoland Drive. It tries to pronounce it and it comes out funny, so we keep saying it funny between ourselves. But the cool thing about this hotel and everything, you're surrounded by people with kids around the same age. So everyone's a little bit more easygoing. Unlike a lot of California, when you have kids, the mask thing isn't necessarily always as big a deal as it is to everybody else, for better or worse, whatever your political slant is on that, it doesn't matter. But that's one thing you'll see here is people are a lot more lax about that type of thing in general. Not everybody, but in general, a lot more lax than the rest of California. And it just, all in all, you can kind of sit back and it's not that big a deal, because if a person was just walking around on their own around here, they'd stand out. But if you're with kids and you've got your kids, you feel like there's not a lot of danger around here. They got decent security, at least visible security. Everything's clean, relatively clean, but it also has a worn feel to it, which is funny. When you're around kids and kids stuff, everything gets worn out pretty quickly, and the whole place is a little bit worn. And in most cases, any other hotel that I would go to, I would consider that really low class. Here, it's comforting because my kids can't destroy anything. There are kids gnawing on everything and going at things all day long out here. So I know my kids, even if they did do damage, it was not the first time, and the staff here can handle it. The staff knows how to handle kids because they're handling them all the time. Just across the board, I like that. But let's take it back to your business. So I'm sorry for going on a rant here, but you take it back to your business, you say, what am I actually providing? Well, you're providing what Legoland is providing me. Legoland and Legoland Hotel and the resort here, they're providing me a comfortable place to take my kids and hang out, a less stressful vacation. I didn't know that stuff was even there. I did not even really realize that having kids and walking around with them was really all that stressful until it wasn't there. And now that but see, I'm not even sure if these people understand that that's what they're providing. I'm not sure if the corporate structure or the marketing team understands that's what they're providing. I'll tell you what, if they sell that though, they're gonna have some response. If they sell that even just to people who have already been here, they're gonna get response back from it. I can almost guarantee you, it's that distinct for me. So you have to ask yourself, for your business, what are you providing in the end game? What is the feeling that someone is going to have after getting the end result from using your product or service? What is that feeling? How would they describe it? What's the story that they would tell? Have they told the story? Have you asked them what the story is? And what feeling, how does that make them feel as opposed to how they felt previously? That's what you got to dig into. What are you really selling? That's the question for tonight. That's all I've got for you. Go check out my book, 9 Ways to Amazon Proof Your Business, for more strategies on how you can make your business competition proof. You can get a free copy at amazonproofbook.com. We'll see you tomorrow. You have a good one. In the meantime, get out there and let the magic happen.